Welcome to High Proof Ashes Podcast. I am Jason JV Smoke, your co-host, and I'm here with
Duran. No cool nickname.
We may never get there.
No, might not. Might not.
Might never get there. So, interestingly enough, I was rummaging through the Humi, and I pulled a few things out and showed this to Duran and said, might be a good idea to try this one. And he pipes up and says he's never had this. Yeah. And I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. So we are going to do the Casa Cuba.
Fuente.
It is a Fuente.
Fuente is Fuente. Only Fuente is
Only
Fuente.
A Fuente is a Fuente.
All right.
Yeah.
So me being a traditionalist and you pulling out a Fuente that I've seen, online and different things and seen reviews and never actually tried, I was super excited to say, yes, I'm in.
Yeah. So I was surprised that you'd never had this. So, I just recently tried this, maybe within the last 6 months or so.
Okay.
I had never had one before that either. Had never even heard of it. So this is the Flora Fina. So Casa Cuba Flora Fina. And it is a natural. This is the last cigar that Fuente Sr. put his hands on to blend. Correct. So, that kind of makes it special.
It does.
Yeah, kind of makes it special.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into this one, but why don't you tell us about our bourbons, whiskeys here? I think they're both bourbons.
Both bourbons, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm super excited because, not only am I going to smoke a cigar that I've wanted to get my hands on, but I dug in the stash a little bit. And no, it's not super expensive, but it is an extremely allocated bottle, right?
It is.
E.H. Taylor small batch.
But it meets
it meets our criteria.
It does,
right?
Even though it's allocated.
It's allocated, but it is said to be aged somewhere between 7 and 8 years. It is exactly 100 proof, and it comes in at a price point of $40 if you can find it at MSRP.
That's right.
So unfortunately, a lot of times you'll find it on secondary market around 100, but if you can find it at MSRP, it is right at $40. So E.H. Taylor, phenomenal bottle to have in your collection if you're a big fan of Buffalo Trace Distillery, right? It's a phenomenal bottle to have in your collection. Step up from Eagle Rare, I would say, because of the proof. But it is the same mash bill. So, and then the other bottle we have is the Smoke Wagon Uncut, the younger.
Yep.
It is made in Vegas, right?
Yep.
What does that come in at as far as proof? I don't remember.
118.
All right, so
or 116.
116. That's right.
This one is 116.
So,
yeah, this one's intended to be a cast strength. So
right.
each bottling
right.
batch is a little different.
Right.
So this particular one is 116.
Yeah, and it's 4 years old.
Yes.
So it's aged 4 years.
It is.
So it's one of our favorite smoke wagons to go to when we can find it. Rings in at about $55.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can find it, it's pretty good. Very enjoyable. One thing I'll say about Smoke Wagon is they change out their labels quite often for holidays.
They do, for special occasions, right?
Yeah, you'll find a lot of special, really good-looking bottles out there from Smoke Wagon. So we're going to enjoy both of those today.
They do a Christmas and a 4th of July.
They do a 4th of July, which is red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
America.
America.
But yeah. So we're gonna enjoy both of these today, and let's get started, man. Let's light up and see what this Casa Cuba is talking about, because I have never had one, so I'm looking forward to it.
Very light smell, just on the unlit, smelling the exterior of the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that very often. I don't know about you, but
well, so I mean, me neither. But for this one, since I have never ever laid my hands on it, right? Like I want every nuance I can get. So. Just a very, very good, even tobacco smell.
We've talked about it, but it's almost a Lancero.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah.
So, got to take a few more puffs on this one. You can't let it sit as much,
right? Because it'll go out, and then you'll have to do some maintenance. Will go out.
That's right.
And that can be a bit annoying.
I'm going to give this bad boy a light here. Got to go a little bit lighter on the light. Can't be as direct.
And did you go guillotine cut today?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked about our cuts in a while, so I went guillotine, right? So that's just a straight cut across the top. I like the guillotine because it gives me the smoke production and the draw that I like. So when you go guillotine, right, you're ultimately looking for the cap on a cigar, and you want to cut just above it, right? Don't take too much off of your cigar.
And most of them have two caps.
Yes.
Right. So the idea is that you're cutting off the first one, but not the second one.
Right.
Yeah.
So I seen a picture of DJ Khaled. I don't want no smoke. Y'all the best. All that good stuff he said. But the man was cutting like a third off of his Andalusian bull. Like, I have to show you the picture, man. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like,
what?
Literally. It's like, somebody teach this man how to cut a cigar. Like, please, somebody teach this man how to cut a cigar.
Oh, man, you can't waste a bowl.
Dude, I was just so... I was distraught by how he was cutting it. But, he's got the funds to, be okay with cutting a cigar like that.
I guess.
But, you could have ultimately had the cigar unravel, just break up on you, all kinds of things from cutting it that way.
Can.
So.
Now, I will say...
oh, my God, the smell on this. The smell.
I told you, like, in my opinion, this is between a Don Carlos and a Fuente Añejo. And it's priced about that, too.
It gave me Opus vibes from what I smelled in the air.
Yeah.
Off of, just like the pre-light.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh, man, the taste right off the bat.
So this will be an interesting episode because, he's a Fuente lover, and he's never had this. So
I don't know how much talking I'm gonna do, guys.
You said that last time.
I know, but wow. Okay. So medium body. It doesn't give me full body vibes.
It is medium body.
It's medium
I
body.
agree with you.
The smell.
The aromas coming off the cigar, like when you exhale,
man,
and you kind of smell the air. I know, right?
Woo, that's pleasant. That's nice. That's real nice.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that, if someone next to you is smoking it, you get a whiff of that, and you're like, oh, what is that?
What is that? What is that? What are you smoking?
Yeah, what is that?
Like, what is, oh man, that's so amazing, right? Like,
so is it crazy that I get a little bit of chocolatiness?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Like cacao?
I get
like it's on my it is literally stuck on my palate right now. I'm getting this.
I get a little bit of some leather notes. Man,
like we're not big, No,
we're not those guys.
Talk about the flavor notes kind of guys, but like for me on my palate, like that's what I'm getting. It's different.
I'm thoroughly impressed already. So I'll do my thing here, right? Like let's talk bands.
Oh, the bands.
Let's talk
different than
bands.
A typical Fuente band.
So right when I first looked at it, I said, "Man, it reminds me of a Fuente band."
Right.
And then you were like, "Well, turn it around."
Right.
And I had to look at the back.
Yeah, you look at the back. Let me grab. Let me see if I can grab one here.
Again, so you got to remember, this is the last one that Fuente Sr. laid his hands on. So the band has to be a little bit different, but it's still got the beautiful colors that come traditionally with Fuente, right? You've got that gold, the black, and the beautiful red, and very simplistic, right? It's only one band on this.
That's right. But on the cello, you've got this pretty little.
Yep.
Hopefully I can get that on the camera there. But like the cello band, or whatever you want to call this, sticker, is very much reminiscent of a Fuente.
Yeah.
Like when you turn it around, you're like, oh, that's a Fuente.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
absolutely. I knew immediately as soon as I turned it over.
Yeah, as you turn around, it's Fuente.
I was already going, okay, I think that's Fuente, but as soon as I turned it around, I was like, oh, it's definitely Fuente.
Right. So it's got that lion, the big gold inlay lion, and it's huge.
It's a beautiful cigar, man.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
You'll notice that beautiful dark color on there, right? Just good burn so far. Nice ash, great construction. Everything you expect from a Fuente. Beautiful smoke production, right? I can see the whisk of smoke.
It does not disappoint.
And the initial footlight is just, it's everything you want from a cigar, man.
Yeah.
Like, everything you want from a cigar. So again, I said I was excited to get into this. So let me go ahead and let me get this E.H. Taylor in here with
Yeah, I'm going to start with that
this
too.
Casa Cuba.
Yeah.
And see what we're talking about as far as taste and profile between the two. I'll go a little bit more on this one because I don't pull this out too often. So.
Right. Yeah, this is one of my favorites right here, and it's unfortunate that it's so allocated.
Right.
But you can find it a little bit harder than probably Eagle Rare to find. But the small batch is their starter their starter line.
Is the least allocated.
There you go.
Of the E.H. Taylor line.
There you go.
Get a little cinnamon.
Very nice aroma.
A little caramel. Some earthiness there. Like it, it's well done. Right? If you're a fan of Eagle Rare, and Eagle Rare is aged longer than E.H. Taylor, but the extra proof on the E.H. Taylor,
it carries it.
It just makes it that much better. Than the Eagle Rare.
I mean, like you said, it's like a proofed up Eagle Rare.
Yes. And
so because it's proofed up, there's some extra flavors in there. It's a little more flavorful, more stronger on the flavors. That's just very good. And every now and again, this bottle graces the lounge when we do a Whiskey Wednesday.
Every now and then.
Every now and again, yeah.
Now we've had some other ones come in, right? Like we've had other E.H. Taylors come in, but the small batch, like I said, is more readily available than the other ones. And of course, all of the E.H. Taylors are bottled in bond. So what does that mean, Jason? What does that specifically mean for bourbon?
Oh Lord, he's gonna test my memory here. So it's one distillery from one distillation, in a government
regulated
regulated warehouse.
Yep.
Has to be bottled at 100 proof. And I think they have to put all that on the bottle.
Yep.
So I hope I got all that right.
I think that's most of it. If there's any more, I can't remember it. But every once in a while, I like to throw Jason under the gun.
I think it's interesting that all the Taylors are bottled in bond.
Yeah.
Like that's super interesting to me. I just recently learned that, and I didn't realize that they were all bottled in bond. So that's pretty interesting.
Okay. Well, I am thoroughly impressed already with this cigar, right? Like
a little bit better than Don Carlos.
Yeah.
But not quite
not
an
an añejo. But
somewhere in between.
But right? Listen, you will not be disappointed if you get your hands on one, right? No. And also, it's just the fact of saying that you had one because they're not readily available.
They're not.
Right? So
they're not.
Jason is definitely doing me a favor for pulling this out of the archives.
I've never had one of these.
Man, listen,
I'm so glad I pulled it out and was like, hey, what about this one? And you're like, I've never had it.
Yeah, but so I'm kind of upset that like so the other cigars that we were talking about, like they're not on the same caliber of this. Like,
but they're not. But I thought that you had this. Like when I suggested this, it was not a cigar cigar you've never had. This was just one that I thought, hey, this would be a good one to have.
Yeah. No, this is.
And you're like, oh, I've never had it. Oh well,
we got to do that. Yeah.
We're doing that one.
I mean, just everything you want in a cigar, like I said, is burning well. It tastes great. It smells great. Like that's one thing about this. The smell that's
filling the room
is so nice. Like I'm telling you, it gives me Opus vibes.
Yeah.
Right? Like
very, very true.
That spiciness you get when you light an Opus and you blow it into the air. That's exactly what I get from this, man.
Yeah, so if you go into one of your shops and you see the Casa Cuba, and this one is the Flora Fina, I guess I think that's the size name, but definitely pick some up because your shop's not going to get very many of them.
No.
And they're not going to get them very often.
No, not at all.
And they're, like I said, they're reasonably priced. I think these run about, I want to like $16.
Okay.
So very much priced between the Don Carlos and the Añejos.
Yeah.
We need to do an Añejo on the podcast. Like that's a special cigar. I really Really enjoy the añejos.
Mm-hmm. The Shark, especially. I don't know what it like. I enjoy all the añejos, but there's something I don't know what is different about the Shark.
It's box press.
No, I know it's box press, but
that's
like
the difference.
it's still just
that's the difference.
It amazes me that like the shape of a cigar can change the complexity so much.
It can,
right?
When
like
you go to that box press, that extra process to box press it, it changes it. I mean, we've talked about it on a previous episode. You know that I feel some kind of way about box press, and it's my favorite shape.
Yeah,
and
so with the Shark being more of a torpedo, can we truly call it a box press?
I mean, it's like it's a box press torpedo. I don't know. Maybe it's a box press bellicoso.
Right. Like, we're gonna have to get Crowder on here and have him tell us all.
Well,
about
you corrected me that last time.
You know
that you were like, I think it said a bellicoso, and I'm like, okay. Had to pull it out. Oh wait, it is a bellicoso. Okay, so it's a box press bellicoso. I guess the head's not as pointy as a normal torpedo is, but
dude, this is yeah.
Okay, so it's unfair to include this in the cigars you've never had ranking.
No, that's definitely out because all of those are budget cigars that we're smoking. Right, so we're smoking budget cigars for cigars I've never had. So I will not rank this against that. But this is a top tier cigar. Right, this is a top tier cigar.
It's relatively unknown too.
Yeah, but the problem is right. So it's a hard to find cigar. So
it is.
That's one of the things.
So a lot of people shop online, and these are not put with like the Fuentes. They're put as their own sort of brand, if you will.
Okay.
And so I think that's why now when shops get them, they put them with the Fuentes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have that typical Fuente brand. You know, so we've talked about before, like pretty much all the Fuentes, they have the same band, and the only thing that changes is the little bit of name that they put on there, and that's really nice because it's super identifiable
easily.
But when they do something like this, you're like, oh, that's not a Fuente.
Yeah,
it doesn't have that band on it.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, right? But, so, like Fuente, even recently, like if I'm not mistaken, they had like a lawsuit against was it the XFL? Somebody tried to steal their X.
So,
or you're talking it was very similar.
You're talking about CAO.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
They put out a, and I may get all the letters and numbers wrong, but I think it was a BX3, and it had this big X on there, for the name, and so Fuente sued them for it. And I mean, if you look at them side by side, I don't know how you could confuse one.
I don't think you can. I don't think you
could. They look completely different, So I mean, I get what Fuente's thinking, but it's like it's gonna be really hard to confuse that for that,
especially if you're a cigar guy,
right?
Or girl, right? My bad. Cigar guy, girl,
cigar person.
Either way. If you smoke a lot of cigars, you're going to know what a Fuente looks like. Which is why when he handed me this, I was confused. Like, what is that? Now, there is the Fuente out there with, is it the Julius Caesar head?
So that's not their brand. They make it, but that's not their brand.
Right.
That's the Diamond Crown.
Yes.
Diamond Crown brand. They have the Julius Caesar and the Maximus. And then the Black Diamond.
The Black Diamond.
But that's not their brand.
Right.
So they just make it.
Right. It's a combination with J.C. Newman.
Right. The same thing with Ashton. Right. They make a couple of Ashtons.
Yes.
I think they make the VSG and the ESG. Yeah. So.
And then you've got the God of Fires. Right. So that is a Fuente, but band will look different.
Which I think is a pretty interesting collaboration that they have. So God of Fire is Prometheus, and they have this interesting collaboration where Fuente makes all of the Prometheus cigars, but Prometheus makes all of the Fuente accessories. So all the lighters and the cutters and the ashtrays and all that other stuff, like Prometheus makes all that for them.
Yes.
And that's a pretty interesting collaboration, I think.
It's a phenomenal cigar, and any of the accessories are extremely nice.
Very nice. I mean, I treated myself to a Prometheus, a God of Fire 30th anniversary lighter and cutter.
Yeah,
and that thing rarely comes out of the box.
Yeah.
Like it came in a what do you want to call it, a clamshell type, box with foam.
Looked like a watch box.
Yeah,
looked like a watch box.
And I mean, I keep them in there.
Yeah,
and so like probably been 3-4 months that those come out, but like just a bunch of gold inlay and just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Well, I mean, the hat you've got on tonight, you're doing a pretty good impression of not Don Carlos, but Fuente Jr. right now, right? Like, if you see any pictures of him, he's normally rocking a fedora that looks very similar.
This is very true. That was not planned.
That
was not planned that I was wearing this hat and we'd be smoking this cigar.
Oh, man.
Which, that's one of the draws of our podcast, though, is that a lot of what we do is unplanned.
Yes.
And it's, we're unscripted.
We
we're uncut,
never know what we're going to talk about.
And we never know what we're going to talk about. And guys, most of the time, we don't know what we're going to smoke or what we're going to drink. Like, we just get together and, he brings some stuff and, I just start pulling stuff out and I'm like, okay, what about this, this, and this?
Yep.
And so.
Like, our text message today was like, what should I bring? He was like, just bring a couple of bottles.
Yeah.
Like, some stuff that we can choose from. So I pulled up with the Taylor and you were like, yeah, we got to do that.
Right. Got to do the Taylor.
Got to do the Taylor.
And it's funny because I pulled it out and I said, hey, I think this meets our criteria. And he went, no, it doesn't. And I'm like, it's allocated, but it meets our criteria.
Yeah.
It's 4 year, it's 100 proof, and it's under $40. And he's like, it's not under $40.
It's $40. It's right at the mark.
It's right at the mark.
It's right at the mark.
Yeah. So it is allocated, but definitely meets our criteria.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
You don't have to go for the more allocated Taylors. If you don't have a Taylor, just start with this one.
Yep. And
I mean, I have one. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And, a buddy of ours figured out a way you can cut the little tube that it comes in. So the tube,
and make a little.
So it comes in a tube, right? Which is kind of neat. But you can cut this tube and it with a rag, it fits a Glencairn perfectly.
Yep.
And so I just think that's so inventive.
All right. So let's see. We're about halfway in here. We need to finish our drinks.
We do.
I'm not going to gulp this, but I'm going to get there. But we need to finish this. So what are your thoughts, man? What do you think about?
It's a solid bourbon, man.
Right?
I mean, it's,
it's hard to beat at the price point. If you can buy it at MSRP.
Like, you put this next to the Eagle Rare, they're pretty much the same price.
Yes.
But I think that I would choose the Taylor before the Eagle Rare just because it's like an amped up Eagle Rare.
Mm-hmm.
So the Eagle Rare is great, but with inflation and everything else that's going on in the bourbon world, it used to be in the 30s. Now it's more like 40.
Yeah.
This one's 40. Putting them side by side, I got to go with the Taylor.
Yeah, the Taylor, my personal opinion and my palate says that the Taylor it tastes better. Now, if you're not a proof person, you might enjoy
this is true.
The Eagle Rare a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
I know guys that, God love them, they shoot E.H. Taylor. Or not E.H. Taylor, but Eagle Rare, right?
No. What?
Yeah.
Listen, y'all. I don't know that we will ever have a spirit that's like shootable. Like, I would say like either requires it or like that you'd want to.
No.
Just like everything that we enjoy is very much like a sipping.
Yeah.
Everything
it's for exactly
sipping.
what we do, right? Like our podcast, we pride ourselves on the fact that we're friends and we're just having conversations.
That's right.
No different than the conversations we would have if we were not filming, realistically. Like, this is literally stuff that we talk about on a regular basis, which is how our podcast came about, because we were like,
we should film this.
Right. So welcome to our friendship. But yeah, so that's what we do, right? We came together on a common cause. We both like cigars. We both like bourbon. And we get to talk about it.
I mean, and it's just a good time.
Yeah, right.
We're two guys just hanging out.
Yeah,
having a couple cigars, and
I look forward to this day now as much as I do to Whiskey Wednesday, right? Because
for different reasons.
Yeah, for different reasons, right? It's less chaotic here.
Mm-hmm.
which we haven't plugged the lounge recently. This is Time to Burn, Jason's personal home lounge, right? So we haven't plugged it in a while. But yeah, welcome in. But less chaotic, right? When I come to film the podcast, I kind of get to relax a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like even though we're talking the whole time, I kind of get to take the edge off, just kind of hang out and
in a lot of ways we forget that we're even filming.
Yes.
Which is the whole point. So
all right. I'll rinse out my glass here.
We're gonna move on to the Smoke Wagon.
Yes.
So Smoke Wagon has 4 or 5 different iterations. The one that you have brought more than once is the, what is it? Uncut, unfiltered.
Uncut and unfiltered.
Yeah.
And it tastes uncut and unfiltered.
Very much tastes uncut, unfiltered.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to say it tastes a little dirty.
Tastes a little dirty.
Yeah. And that's not knocking it at all. It still tastes great. But I don't know. I like this one better.
Yes.
And they're about the same price, right?
They are.
Yeah. So, and they have just a bourbon,
just a regular
Smoke Wagon bourbon.
Yes.
But
I believe it comes in around $40.
It actually runs under 40, but it doesn't meet our criteria. So it's
a little less proof.
It's under 100 proof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to get a last smell of that Taylor.
All right, let's see here. It's been a little bit since I've done this.
Really?
I know you had it out recently, but I hadn't. I didn't pick it up because there were a couple other things on the table that I hadn't tried before. So I mean, of course, we're talking about on Whiskey Wednesday when everybody brings in different bottles, and on any given Wednesday you might find 20 to 40 bottles on the table.
Yeah, I was going to say 30 bottles plus, easily.
It's extremely viscous, right? Like I would say more viscous than the Taylor.
I mean, it's uncut. I mean, it's they're not diluting it at all. So the Taylor, like we said, all the Taylors are bottled in bond, and so it's all about consistency. And so every single one is bottled at 100 proof, whereas this is bottled at whatever it was in the barrel. Yeah. So they take it out of the barrel. It's not uncut and unfiltered, so I'm going to assume that they filter it.
Yes.
But
I think we looked it up, right? Like it was cold filtered?
It is cold filtered. You're
cold
right.
filtered.
That's right. You're right. I was forgetting about that. But there's a little pour there. So, I mean, you're getting it right out of the barrel.
I just cannot say enough about the aroma of this cigar.
The whole room just...
It smells great in here. I'm sorry you guys can't smell it. There's a spiciness to the smell and the
woodiness.
Like
there's like this woodiness kind of.
I don't even. It smells phenomenal. Like it's that smell when it just lingers across the room and you catch a whiff and it goes. That's very enjoyable. It makes you want to know what the other person is smoking because of the specific smell.
Right.
There are not too many cigars that do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely one of those where like I said, you catch a whiff across the room, and you're like, "What is that?"
Especially being non-flavored,
smoking?
Right? Like it's not a flavored cigar.
That's
so
right.
Normally your flavored cigars, you'll get a very different smell.
Oh, you definitely catch those.
Right? But this has just, oh my goodness, it's something special.
Well, I'm glad I could share with you, man.
It's greatly appreciated.
So, I mean, the aroma on this one is just completely different. Definitely smells higher proof. But from what I remember, it doesn't drink its proof.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And something we learned recently, this is actually a pretty high rye.
Right, like that
like I was surprised at that.
So I just had my first party foul at Time to Burn. I just brought ash all over.
Oh, he ashed all over him.
I got myself, man. They say that's good luck. I don't believe it because now these pants have to go to the dry cleaners for sure. Might have been able to get like one more wear to the cigar lounge, but Not now. It's definitely going to dry cleaners.
That's funny. So this is a 36% rye, which when I read it, I couldn't believe it.
Me neither. Me neither.
Because
I don't taste it at all.
Doesn't drink it at all.
I don't taste any of it.
I mean, I would have said it was a very much a low rye, but we want to continually bring you, stuff that is different.
Yeah.
And we've said before, like the ryes that are coming across our tables
are just getting better and better.
Just wow.
So we haven't said this episode. Please drink responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
We drink a lot of water. As you'll see, we pick up our cups back here often to drink water behind the bourbon that we have. But also, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell so that you know we're posting new episodes.
Yep.
Trying to give you guys great content, right? In a space where there's not a lot, right? There may be some cigar podcasts out there, maybe some bourbon podcasts out there. But we are the podcast for those who enjoy both. And we are your normal, average, everyday guys, just having some drinks and some cigars.
We're just smoking and drinking everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Even though we talk about the Taylor being allocated, it's one of the lesser allocated bottles.
Right. It's less expensive than most allocated bottles.
Like, you don't have to go to a lottery to get one of these.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you can go to your shop and, if you're connected well enough with the people who work there or the owner, like we are with Red Hot. So shout out to Red Hot. You probably got that at Red Hot.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So he really does look out for us and kind of hold some stuff back for us. So we'll bring some of that, some more of that to you, but it's just really good. And then the Smoke Wagon is just on the shelf.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that it's better than the Taylor. The Taylor is smoother.
It's refined.
Yes.
It's very refined.
But the Smoke Wagon has that proof and that extra punch of flavor that you're not going to get from the Taylor.
No.
Only because it's 100 proof.
Yeah.
And so there's only so much you can do with 100 proof.
100 proof, right.
So
I like both bottles, and I think they both...
For different reasons.
Bingo. They serve different purposes,
yes.
Right? So you're going to see some different things or taste some different things between both bottles. Like I said, if you're looking for something that's truly a full-blown sipper, I would say you want to go with your E.H. Taylor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the sophisticated bottle that you whip out around good friends. You pour a hefty pour.
You will not be disappointed at all.
Right? You pour a hefty pour.
That's right.
And you take it all night. You hang with that all night.
That's right.
Long.
Yes.
The Smoke Wagon, however, is something that you just want to keep going back to.
Like, I just took a sip of it, and I'm like, man,
can I pick it up again and do it, right?
It's so good.
It really is a very good bottle.
Like, if you've never had Smoke Wagon before, like, you gotta try it.
You do.
And I would say go for this one first.
Yeah.
Like
the Uncut the Younger is one of the better bottles.
Like, the regular core bourbon or whatever is good, but this one, it's a cut above. And for the price, I mean, I think it's $55. So, like,
it's hard to beat.
It's just really good, really good. It's one that I like to have in my collection, just all the time.
Yeah.
So that I can, whenever I see it, I'm like, should I go for that?
Yeah.
And I bring it into the lounge all the time because it's one of those ones that you want to share.
Yes,
with other
and it's
people.
one of those ones that, like, when people see it, they always go, "Oh, that's good. I'm gonna get some."
Yeah.
Right. The E.H. Taylor doesn't necessarily sit on the table because it is allocated. So sometimes I might sit it in the floor and I don't share it with those people who don't normally drink bourbon. If you're a bourbon drinker, then sure, you can have some E.H. Taylor, right? Because you understand the nuances and
right.
you know. But
Well, you understand it's a special bottle.
yeah, you understand that it's not to be gapped, right? Like you're
That's
not
right.
going to pour a 4-finger pour.
It's not like it. You know, this is readily available.
Yes.
Right. The Taylor is not.
Yeah.
So it's a special bottle.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to relish it.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad I'm able to share it with you the same way we share this cigar, right?
I'm glad you brought it because I really enjoy the Taylor.
Yeah.
It's just really good.
So we're probably at about closing point here. Final thoughts?
I mean, the Casa Cuba, like,
thank you.
You're welcome,
dude. This is great, right? Like I'm upset at myself that I've never ventured to go online or somewhere and make sure to shop for these and grab one.
It's just really hard to find.
It is, but it's a phenomenal cigar.
And it's low on the radar for most people.
Yeah.
You know, even those like you that love Fuente, this is one of those ones that just you're not going to see. So if you're a Fuente lover or if you're a traditional kind of old world style cigar lover,
yep.
I mean, this is you got to try this.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so good. It's just so good. But what else you got, man?
That's it, man. I don't have anything else. Like, phenomenal cigar tonight. We've got 2 great bottles that you guys should definitely go out and grab if you haven't. But with that being said, I guess it's about time for us to sign off, right?
Yeah.
Well, I am Duran. No cool nickname yet. Again, drop them in the comments. I don't know if we'll pick one. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But you know, my co-host.
I am Jason JB Smoke, and thank you for joining us, and join us for the next one.
We'll see you soon, folks.
See you soon.